First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to this event, and I'd like to start off by wishing everybody a happy Women's Day. Today is Women's Day, and I was just at Aurat March, which is why I was a little bit late. Apologies for that. I think what is really fundamentally important for us to understand today is कितनी तेजी से changes आ रहे हैं retail landscape में and particularly in the e-commerce landscape. Pakistan has never seen this kind of change before in its history. It's dramatic. There's a tectonic plate shift, and we are fortunate enough to live through this time that will be remembered by your children, my children, in how quickly things changed in this country. और जो changes आ रहे हैं, they're not just a result of what's happening today. ये जो changes आ रहे हैं, they're a result of things that have been happening for the past 10 years, the past 15 years. मुझे याद है कि when I first moved back to Pakistan and I started Rozee.pk, which is our jobs platform, पाकिस्तान में उस वक्त कोई 2.3 million internet users हुआ करते थे, 2.3 million. आज 90 million internet users हैं इस मुल्क में, who are connecting to the internet primarily through their smartphones. And when I say primarily through their smartphones, there's a dramatic difference between connecting to the internet on your smartphone and connecting to the internet on your laptop. And this has been shown world around. We're not the first of the countries to show this change. We are one of the many countries, so we have the luxury of looking what's happened to our neighbors and to other emerging nations and to the developed nations, because this is a change that they have gone through. The difference is we're going through it faster than probably anybody else. What happens is when you shift your internet usage from a laptop to a phone, your usage becomes more ubiquitous, it becomes more frequent, and the kind of things you can do on the phone result in a behavioral pattern that's very conducive to e-commerce. It's no mystery that e-commerce transactions are profoundly more frequent and larger, and the conversions are higher on mobile phones than they are on laptops. So as we've navigated this shift, and smartphones are becoming more and more available, and the number of internet users has gone from 2.3 million when I arrived on the scene of the internet in Pakistan to 90 million people today. The behaviors have changed dramatically, but we, as an industry, as retailers, as providers of services, as people who sell online, are still struggling to keep up with that change. And what are a few of the changes? First of all, 90 million internet users on your smartphone. What does that mean? We have a population of 220 million people in the country today. Half of them are adults. Roughly speaking, 100 million people in Pakistan are adults. And of those 100 million people, roughly 90 million people have internet-enabled smartphones. So when you look at internet usage in Pakistan, don't look at 90 million out of 220 million, look at 90 million out of 110 million. It's amazing what people can do. What people can do from the village, from the office, from the home, from the street, while they're waiting for their food at a restaurant. These are behaviors that are here today, but we haven't capitalized on them. We haven't built the use cases for people to exploit them. And one more thing we need to realize as an industry, as people who sell online, as retailers, is of these 90 million people, more than half are people who are joining the internet for the first times in their lives. And they're joining the internet on the back of smartphones. This is their first experience with the internet. This is how they're learning about the internet, is through the WhatsApp and their Facebook. And they're struggling to understand what else they can do. And frankly, there's not much else that a lot of these people can do, who have low education levels, who are still struggling to build a financial account on the internet. But now, us, the entrepreneurs in this room, the professionals in this room, the businessmen in this room, the people who sell online in this room, this is our opportunity to make a difference, not just for ourselves, but in the lives of 5 million micro, small, medium-sized entrepreneurs in the country. 5 million. To transform them, to help change them, to bring markets to them. It's very expensive selling online. You would know. Expensive software ki zarurat hoti hai. You need sophistication, you need an IT team, you need a network infrastructure, you need to pay for hosting, you need to understand the technology. This is beyond most of these entrepreneurs and businesses who've just gotten a smartphone for the first time in their lives. It costs at least ₹1 million to start to sell online, to build your e-commerce site, to get your platforms in place and your hosting in place. And once you do that and you get the expertise to do it and you find people to do it, to maintain it is a nightmare. And then learning how to use this new medium, how do I sell, iska kya matlab? We need to understand that the education in this country predominantly is very low level. But one thing we recognize, I think all of us do, when we're on the streets, the kind of entrepreneurship we see on the streets is second to none. We see entrepreneurship in the person who sells us corn on the street. We see entrepreneurship in the bazaar when we buy our shawls and our clothes and our shoes. And these are amazing entrepreneurs. If you look at the resources they have and from those resources, the value that they're able to create, it's mind-blowing. At the same time, we've seen the payment space dramatically grow. State Bank has been very progressive in allowing fintechs and allowing wallets. Banks have started to embrace the need of the time, which is branchless banking, to let people bank on their phones. So there are more and more ways to pay. And the number of people who can pay online today, whether it's a Jazz Cash, EasyPesa, SimSim, Finja, you name it, is dramatically larger, and we've put payments into the hand of the common man, and that's increasing day by day. Financial inclusion is increasing at the same pace as the internet growth itself. Combine financial inclusion, ability to pay online, with the technologies of today that are now available on the palm of your hand, and there's transformation that can be done. Because it's clear to us that we cannot educate enough people to create enough jobs to employ the 2.5 million people joining the workforce every year. We can't do it. We don't have enough educational resources, no matter what we do. So the alternative is what? The alternative is to help them become entrepreneurs, to help them create more employment. Dukan.pk is an initiative that you could call entrepreneurial, but it stems its origin from a basic need of creating impact and of helping people join the revolution of e-commerce. Dukan.pk is a relatively new startup. I co-founded with my co-founder here, with Fatma. You'll be hearing from her soon. Very, very proud to have her on the team. And Dukan was built during lockdown. It was built during lockdown when I was going to the shops and we were seeing that shops were unable to sell because aap log nahi ja rahe the, because of lockdown. Log idhar nahi aa rahe. People weren't going to the shops. So aapke jo SMEs and jo micro enterprises hain, they weren't able to sell, and they literally were starving because they're hand to mouth. And when I went to the markets and I talked to them, they said the same thing. Help us sell online. We don't know how to do it, but help us. Dukan today is a mobile-based platform. On your cell phone, you can download it right now, iOS, Android, Facebook, install it. And within 29 seconds, this is a challenge, you will have an e-commerce store up and running with payment integrations and ability to send your parcels wherever you want through our partners. You don't have to do anything. You have to have an ID card, you have to have a smartphone, you have to have internet, and you have to know how to use a Facebook or a WhatsApp. It's not a very high bar. This is meant for the person who studied up till 5th grade. This is meant for the woman who sells from home, who sells her jewelry from home, or her cupcakes from home. This is intended for the person who says, I want to start a business to sell my food from home, but I don't know how. This is a product for them. We're very proud of the platform. We haven't really announced it in a major way. Very early days, you'll be hearing a lot more about us in the future. Dukan keeps track of your products, your catalog, your pricing. It calculates your profit in a very easy to use manner. I explained the interface was designed for people with low levels of education. It's in Urdu, it's also in English. We've plugged in Visa, MasterCard, EasyPesa, Jazz Cash. We've also innovated the IBFT experience, how to transfer online. This is a new thing that we've done, I think, for the first time. So when you make a bank transfer online, the app automatically knows that aage hain paise. No more need for those screenshots we exchange with the vendors. We've integrated providers who like IKEA. We're integrating leopards and tracks and you name it. So now from your app, aapka order bhi aa gaya, you got the payments, your site is made, you know who is the person who has made the purchase, and you click a button and a delivery will happen automatically. Person will show up at your house and say, where's your parcel? It couldn't be any easier. And with this platform, with this foundation that we've made, we believe this is the fundamental lowest level building block that will catalyze e-commerce in Pakistan. This is our aspiration, this is our desire, this is our dream, our hope. Because only through this can we really transform the lives of the people who are going to grow our economy. These are the SMEs. And these are the same people, by the way, who are our growth engines, who are neglected from the banking system. Unko hum loans nahi dete. When they need to grow their business and buy more items or hardware, they need to buy a fridge, a stove, they need to buy more raw material. Banks turn their heads away from them. You're not interested, aapka loan size too small hai. Aapka to apna house hi nahi hai. I need your house papers, I need your car papers. I'm going to take 3 months, and even then, aapka 80,000 ke loan ke liye itna kaam nahi. I'm going to give my money to the government and I make easy money, easy return. So we've neglected our SMEs. We've neglected fueling them for growth. This is a problem that Dukan solved because many of these SMEs are not inside the fold, the banking fold. Undocumented, we call them. So banks say, how can I give a loan to this small enterprise when they don't have proper books? With documentation, I can't. My compliance will object. And it's too high risk. And what Dukan does is we have learned how to digitally score businesses. Jaise aapka store open hota hai, aapke transactions start hote hain. We have visibility into how well you're doing. We can see your sales over time. और एक दिन 3 महीने बाद we know कि आपकी हर महीने 80,000 की आमदनी होती है, and you need 20,000 का loan because you need to buy a cooler or a fridge. And with a click of a button, we will digitally score you, and instantly app के अंदर you will get a digital loan that you can repay in easy installments and will help you grow your business. And this has never been done in history of this country. There's already a fire. ये आग, e-commerce की आग जो है, it's growing fast. This will add that fuel to the flame, so we can uplift 5 million micro and small enterprises, and they will create employment, and they will grow to mid-sized organizations. And this is how we grow our economy. Thank you very much.